Though all of Black culture is ghetto subculture, I'm not the only Black American who takes issue with it. Because like I said, majority of Black America is middle class, not in the ghettos, not out here perpetuating gang violence, promiscuity, and everything else.
Okay. And even Black people who live in what is considered the ghetto, most of them are normal. Most of them are not subscribing to this stuff. Most of them are not actively members of gangs, and they want to see their neighborhoods cleaned up. They want to see the culture cleaned up. But instead, we're saying that this is indicative of all Black culture and community, and we must preserve these things. And anybody who's trying to fight it, even if they are Black people themselves telling you this is not okay, they are race traitors, or they hate Black people, or even better, they are anti-Black, which how you can be that at the same time as being Black astounds me, but people will say that it is something that others are capable of.
Hello. So I wanted to talk about this, and you know what's funny is I got a comment the other day and was like, oh, you know, this is Black women's business and it doesn't concern you, and like I get that and all, but the Black community directly affects me. I am mixed race, so I'm still going to talk about certain things, but when it comes to Black culture, most, like she said, are not, they may live in the hood, but they're not bad people. They're actually great people. They own their homes. They take care of their homes. They take pride in their homes. And then you'll have people who are hood boogers who literally will break into other Black people's homes. They will take their cars. They'll try to rob them on the streets. They'll try to rob them for shoes. And the Black community by themselves cannot fight crime. Like, they cannot do it themselves. And when they call the police give them a slap on the wrist and let them back out. And I would have to believe that that's because they want it to continue to happen. Like, there's not enough sympathy in the world. Like, why do you keep letting these people right back out on the street? I don't know. I just feel like there's like the good Black people and bad Black people. And I feel like people think they're doing the right thing by helping hood people all the time, giving them slaps on the wrist, and it's not helping anything. Or shall I say street people, like street culture, because you can be from the hood and live in the hood and not be a piece of crap and not promote violence and not attack people randomly and things like that. Like, I've had street people attack me for no reason, and I know they attack other African Americans, like their own people. So it's like, these people exist in every race, right? But I just feel bad when it's like, when it comes to the African American community, they just act like it's all of them. It's not all of them. And like, I know that for certain, but I wish more people like her had a bigger voice. Like the lady with the glasses on, I wish more people like that had the bigger voice instead of people who are doing the crimes. It feels like they are taking over the culture of Black American culture. And I love like the old Black American culture, like the classy, like this. I mean, my father is a boomer, so he's more so like the classy side of things, you know. Most of his friends are from the silent generation. My grandmother's from the silent generation. She's mixed race, and my father's mixed race. But a lot of their friends are Black, and they are still like that. In the South, you know, it's more, I would say, it's frowned upon to be like this. Where I'm from, at least, it's frowned upon to be like this. But it's even getting rough there. It feels like that's just taking over. And I've been saying this for years. Like, it's agitating to live in an environment where this is running amok and people are acting like it's normal. It's not normal to want to be I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that on here, but like, you know, pow people and get away with it. And then be like, this is cool, and everybody's promoting, like, yeah, do it again. And then when that person passes away, people are all shocked. Like, he literally promoted that. And they'd be like, you're not from the hood, you wouldn't understand. No one wants to understand. We want you to stop doing it where other people can be harmed. Rappers act like this is okay to promote this level of violence and then act like we're supposed to be shocked when one of them passes. I'm like, what is wrong with these people? I don't get it. Like, you can't say poverty because there's a lot of impoverished people. You're hurting each other. You're not hurting the people that you claim to hate so much. You're hurting each other. What sense does that make? like, I've talked to these people and they'll be like, it's, you know, it's because of the way society treats me. And I'm like, get a job. And I know that, like, society will attack people who are, you know, a person of color, especially like men. They'll attack all of us in different ways. I get that. But at the same time, how in the heck does hurting each other solve that problem? It doesn't. And let's not talk about how much some of these people lie, because I grew up I'm from South Carolina. I always say that. But I lived in Baltimore, Maryland for a while. And these same people who will be like, you know, they just want to see me down. I'm like, they gave you a slap on the wrist 5 freaking times. You keep going back to jail because you keep doing the same thing. Like, please lie to someone who has not lived in your vicinity and seen how everything played out over and over and over again. You don't want to change. You want to live a street lifestyle because, in their words, the money's quicker. I can't do a job. The money's not fast enough. Okay, fast money gonna send you fastly to a cell. I don't care. I don't have sympathy for people who do stupid things and then look at the world to, like, still give them another handout. Give me another chance for you to do the same thing. No. And you know what kills me is that I've heard, like, other people say this too, but, like, these people want to pretend like they view middle class or upper class black people the same way as themselves. Like you're our people. They don't view you the same. They don't. And I have lived in and worked around most of them. They will literally call you uppity and bougie and be like, you think you're better. The same way they do, you know, other mixed people. They're gonna do the same thing to you. It's just, you're just waiting on your turn. That's it. Because the thing is, you can try to help them all you want. They don't want help. Helping them would be them going to school, even if it's just to get a freaking GED, getting a forklift certification, doing something to better themselves. But no, you know what they do? They go right back and they start selling drugs again because that's what they want to do. They like the quick money. They like the lifestyle. They like the violence until the violence catches up with them. And then all of a sudden, they can't handle it. And I'm not talking about the people who were forced into this. I have had my own experience of people forcing me to do things. I am not talking about you. Please understand that. I'm talking about the people who literally everything was given to them and they still chose this. Because I've noticed something. When people were forced to do this, they're never the ones promoting it. They're never the ones who are actively engaging in it. They want to get away from it as much as possible, and sometimes they are hurt trying to get out of it. I am not talking about you. I'm talking about the people who only promote violence, doing drugs, you know, certain activities that can harm you in other ways that I can't say on this. But I don't get it. Like, that is even living in the hood. People want affordable housing. No one wants to live around that. They be like, y'all in my hood, you own nothing. Like, they own their house. You own nothing. This isn't your hood. You just are terrorizing it. Half of the time, you're not even a free citizen. You're on a box half the time. It's agitating. You're not a 13-year-old. You're not a 15-year-old. Grow up. Like, at some point, grow up. Do you know how many jobs seek out felons because there are felons who own the company, or people who are felons who are managers and they seek it out? I've worked at a few jobs who will hire felons, who hire people right out of jail. So it's like, cut the BS when you say that you can't change. You can. You're choosing it. And I'm just saying, for like upper class, middle class, Black Americans, even like quote unquote lower class, which I feel like if you have a job, your middle class is like a facade at this point in today's society because of the economy. But if you have a job and you are working for yourself, you have a home, you're doing good enough, okay? Like, don't beat yourself up. I think that, like, that voice is what needs to be pushed to the forefront. Now, when it comes to rap music about, like, I guess you could say the sexual liberation, I don't really engage with it. I don't like it that much. I like some rap music, but like some stuff is just like way too far-fetched for me. I've never liked it, and I used to get bullied for that. They'd be like, you're such a prune, like, I bet you're no fun at parties. And it's like, just because I don't want to listen to this nasty music doesn't mean anything. But there is like, I don't think that like that's terrible to listen to rap music or to make music about sex. I think, you know, we had R&B, we had country music about sex. I don't think that's necessarily a problem. I think that if there's a limit, right? Because there's talking about your man and then there's talking about you just giving it up to any and everyone. I think that that's like, there's a limit, you know? And sometimes I look online and they have their kids listening to this music and I'm like, why? And I'm not saying that like people can't have more than one partner, but there's like the hookup culture where you just hook up with anyone. I think that was so heavily promoted and it was just like inappropriate. I'm not talking about the people who are having the time of their lives in college. I'm talking about like throughout your entire life. Like, you're never just gonna, that's just insane to me. And then I see women online saying like they feel like they've been lied to, or even men saying they feel like they've been lied to, and it's like, yeah, because you don't have meaningful connections now, because those people, it comes to a point where you need to stop that. Like, I see a lot of people who have ruined their marriages because of it. You are allowed to do what you want with your body with other consenting adults. However, a lot of those people making that music are married. So please take that into consideration when you're doing things. And I am all for the music of like, you know, talking about sex if that's what you want to do. I like some of the music. But that doesn't mean you just hook up with like people you know what I mean? Like past college, I don't understand how anyone would want to do that. And you know, I say college because I know that that's when a lot of people go through their wild phase or whatever. And I'm not judging that. Like, I have a bunch of people that I know personally who went through a wild phase and then they found their partner and they got settled down and they got married. And I'm not saying you have to do that either. You could be single for the rest of your life. I don't really care either way. But what I'm saying is, I think that some women were sold a dream and they didn't quite frankly see the entire picture. And I see them online all the time talking about how, like, you know, they were sold this dream and they thought it was going to be like different than what it was. And I just want to like bring duality to that. Like, you can have a friends with benefits if that's what you want. However, realize that like you have to be careful who you choose. And with hookup culture, I don't see how you can be careful who you like choose if you're just hooking up with random people. And I know people are like, well, you shouldn't have to tell them that. Well, someone had to tell you something at one point, right? So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just rude. Not everyone can handle their feelings after having sex. And imagine you think that like you're just having a friends with benefits or you're hooking up with a guy you know, right? And that person catches feelings and they don't accept that you just want to be friends and they become like a stalker. That happens. And I'm not saying that you should not do this. I'm just saying think through what you do. Like, don't just do it without thinking it through and realizing that people are crazy and you don't know until it's too late sometimes. Like, don't just I don't think that, like, I think you should really be careful who you give your body to because people are insane and you won't know until you know. Like, if you ever had an ex who you decided, like, okay, you don't want to be with them romantically, but you may want to keep hooking up with them, and they start trying to interfere with your friendships with other people or stuff like that. Our friends with benefits will do that too. They can do that too. That is a common thing. Like, people just need to be more careful. And I don't think that sometimes, like, obviously it's music. They're not going to tell you how dangerous it can get or how people will try to hurt you because their feelings are involved. We always talk about the women being crazy, but we don't talk about how crazy men can get. And I'm not even a person who's like, oh, there can only be like marriage relationships and like things like that. I'm not even that kind of person. I'm just saying that people need to be more careful. Because I think it's fine to be single and just have a friends with benefits or to live separately from your partner, but you guys are in a committed relationship. Because that's what, like, when I envision like growing up, and I would see movies and I'm like, oh, they're friends with benefits, but like they know each other, like they actually know each other, and you know, she knows he or she knows this is a safe person, right? Because I mean, look, I haven't watched Reindeer, but that's an example of like a stalker for a man being stalked too. People should be more careful when they get into these like situations, and sometimes I feel like the music gives this like false sense of idea that like, oh yeah, it's just gonna all be rainbows and butterflies, but someone else is involved in that, and you really got to make sure you know these people. Like, you can't just willy-nilly. I mean, look at like how many people are going on dates and having their life taken. It just scares me that like I know so many people are thinking this is gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a hot girl summer and I'm just gonna hook up with this guy, and it's like, okay, I'm not judging that. Typically, especially if you're in a like a different country, maybe it'll go well, right? But say you're in your city, right, and that guy is like, I don't want to just be a hookup, I want to talk to you. Now I've caught feelings, and they keep harassing you, or she keeps harassing you, and then what? Because they didn't accept that it was just a little situationship. That happens so often, and people don't think about that when they get themselves into these situations, and that puts your life in danger, that puts your career in danger. I know people who the person they hooked up with came to their job, caused scenes, got them fired. Now they can't pay the rent. Now they're gonna face an eviction. Like, it's like people just need to be more careful. No, that's not your fault that they reacted that way, and yes, you can call the cops, but unfortunately the laws are not that good yet. Like, though, yeah, they can call the cops like because they came to your job, but that person can still stalk you, and the cops will be like, oh well, they only call you 20 times, just change your number. Like, you know what I mean? So just be careful. And say you hook up with someone out of the country and you end up pregnant, or you end up getting them pregnant. That is actually really common, especially with the military. And I've been seeing a lot of girls posting like, to the guy I met 3 years ago, you have a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. Like, this is like the part of it they don't tell you. They don't tell you these parts. Or, you know, worse, you can catch an STD. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. But my biggest fear of all of these is like STDs, and people catching feelings and trying to harm like the other person, like trying to harm the guy because he doesn't want to get married because y'all hooked up, or she doesn't want to get married. That happens, and that's really scary. And to go back to like the hood culture side of it, I don't really care about like, you know, the dancing or anything like that. Like, I don't judge that. Like, I don't care. Like, you have fun, you do you, party it up. My thing is, why are you standing outside of convenience stores and, you know, stores in general, Family Dollar, Walmart, demanding money? Not begging, because like, or yeah, begging too. It's okay to ask, but it's not okay to demand or to like sexually harass people or to do all these things or touch people. Oh my goodness, I've had people touch me. That is disgusting. Do not touch people. That is so inappropriate. And like fondle me, and then like the other ones just sit there and laugh. No, that's not okay. Like, the old school gangsters or whatever, they weren't like that. Like, they were men who, whatever they did as far as like selling, I don't care. I genuinely just don't. This is not my business. I don't care. But what I do care about is you hurting people, you harassing people, you pow-powing innocent people because of y'all's beef and you don't know how to shoot your gun. Things like that I care about, because that affects everyone, not just you. And like, you can't stop people from doing, you know, schmucks if they want to do it. So I quite frankly just don't care about it. Like, the US itself sells that stuff. I don't care. But I do care when it's like, again, what I said, don't hurt innocent people. I just don't know how they fell so far down. But I guess that there was always junk houses and stuff like that, right? And there's like people who want to go partying, that is like, obviously everyone wants to party, but then it's like you encounter people who want to like abuse you on the dance floor or like beat a guy up in the bathroom because girls are looking at him. That's insane. Why is it that these people have to harass innocent people? Like, no one owes you anything, and you like taking competition to a level to where you want to beat people up, you want to beat a girl up because she's getting looks, you want to beat a guy up because he's getting girls want him. It's insane. You need to, like, I just don't get it. I'll never be okay with it, and I will always speak out against it. But I know this is not all people of certain demographics. It's not all, you know, African Americans, it's not all Hispanics. No, this is certain demographics within it. And I feel like the people who are in these groups need to speak out more than the like bad people. Because I was watching The Anger Man, and he was like, you know, those type, like the street people outpopulated like regular Black Americans. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's true. I just think that Black Americans who are wholesome, but also like just like regular fun people, they're just not on these platforms. We need y'all to make a count. And like, I see like the femininity ones, I love that. I see like the ones who are like in my groups, like Brats and Barbies, or like Black women meet and walk. I've joined some of that. Like, as a mixed person, like I still love like all sides of me, so I joined the indigenous ones, all of that. But I wish they felt comfortable speaking. Like, I know they're living their lives, but I feel like if they're not making media, or if they're not talking and showing themselves, then it's like those people are gonna keep painting the narrative and acting like that's what's okay. And if like little kids have nothing to look up to, they're just gonna look up to who looks like them, and that's what's being in the media. Like, luckily for me, right, like I had Mariah Carey, I had Halle Berry. Even like when I was little, I was literally just laughing the other day with people about this, but like my dad wouldn't let me watch Catwoman when I was little, and I love like Halle Berry, she's mixed race, love her, and I was like, I want to watch Catwoman. He was like, no, because in that movie, now that I'm older, I'm literally just now watching it, she's like, you know, being like a cat and being kind of promiscuous, and my dad didn't want me to see that, so instead he put on Sister Sister. And I love Sister Sister because those were two mixed girls who look like me or similar to me, and I could relate to them. I could relate to Hillary Banks. I adored Hillary Banks growing up. Like, she was like my idol. Eartha Kitt, like I had influences, and I feel like back then so did like my cousins. Like we had Monica and Brandy. I loved Moesha. That was my show. And like I feel like we had Brandy and Cinderella. Like, there were so many good examples of like family structures in mixed race communities and Black communities, and now it's like we're lacking it. And I know people are like, oh, like Normani needs to be that, and that's okay. Like, I like Normani's music. I know a lot of people don't, but I haven't heard that much of it, but I like what I've heard, you know, her and but yeah, I feel like there's gonna be a shift. And again, like I like hood culture. Like the only aspects that I don't like is obviously the violence, but other than that, like dancing and music, I think that's beautiful, and I hope it continues. But I just, again, if you are Black, don't be afraid to create your own channel and show like what it feels like to be like just a regular suburban or regular Black girl without, or a guy without all of the street violence and nonsense. That's not the only thing that sells, I promise. And if you're mixed race, I mean, there's a lot of us, so we're already doing it. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you for listening. Bye.
And I don't care if you claim it's respectability politics. I guess so be it, because this is gross. It's getting really gross out here how blatantly disrespectful and low class we're acting on social media and in the media, on the internet, on TV. And you can claim that this is someone else's set of moral standards, but no, it isn't. It isn't. Look at Black America in the 50s, in the 60s. Our moral standards back then, drastically different from what we have today, or what we're convincing ourselves is a moral standard today.